while building close relationships with the students and parents alike. Mrs. Kashi has impacted many young children in her career through classroom teaching, mentoring, and personal relationships, which endure long after the school year concludes. She's close to her students, recognizes their strengths, goals, and uniqueness, and treats them with respect. Mrs. Kashi's formal education includes studies at Touro College, undergraduate, as well as master's in general and special education for early childhood education, elementary education, and middle school education. So excited to have Chana.
Thank you so much. Do you hear me, or I should be using the mic? Use the mic? Okay. I'm so honored. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much to the heads of Amatz, Michelle, Liba, Tzipi. They're working so hard the whole year to make sure that it's a perfect experience for all of us principals. And it's especially meaningful for me because it's my 4th year attending the conference, and I never heard of Amatz. I was at a different convention in the summer. It's called Kinas HaMachanchos with over 450 educators, and we get together in the summer, very similar, but we have different tracks for Hebrew teachers, elementary, preschool. And I remember a bunch of teachers like coming in, huffing and puffing. I'm like, where are you coming from? And they're like, Amatz. You didn't hear about Amatz? It's in Muncie. And they had Rabbi Mansour and they had Rabbi Waxman. I'm like, Amatz? I've been teaching for so many years. I've never heard of Amatz. And from then on, I was on a mission to find out what Amatz is. I got onto the WhatsApp group from Chavi Rosenshine. She's my daughter's principal. And this is like my go-to WhatsApp chat. Anytime I have like a question or something to ask my fellow principals. And then I saw that they advertised the principals conference, and it was a nice getaway for me to get to Florida. And although my husband called me and said, oh, they're moving up your presentation, maybe you'll take a flight out tonight because there's a snowstorm coming. I'm like, I think everything's like really canceled. Hopefully I'll see everyone on Tuesday. But it's really very special for me to be here, and I really appreciate that you invited me, and thank you so much for the opportunity. So actually, this is a topic that's very close to my heart, collaborative education. And when I heard about the theme of this year's convention, it's all about the triangle. We know that there are 3 partners in a person's creation, the Father, the Mother, and Hashem. But when we talk about education, the 3 partners of education are really the parents, the educators, and the students. The students are an active part, the parents are an active part, and the educators are an active part. And that's why I feel like this collaboration and collaborative education, and you've heard it so much, and we heard the Rebbitzin talk about it, the 2 Rebbitzins before us, but I want to give some practical ideas also. In 1984, President Ronald Reagan decided that he's going to be the first president to send a teacher to the moon. And he started this initiative. It was called Teacher to the Moon Project. And he sent out applications. 11,000 teachers applied to be the first teacher to go to the moon. And the teacher was going to do some experiments in space in the rocket ship and also teach a lesson or 2. And it was a great opportunity. And so many teachers in America applied for that position. There was a firm teacher. Her name was Mrs. Kornbluth from Baltimore. And she was an English teacher. She taught in a boys' school. And she was, she looked into it. She thought it would be a great opportunity. Imagine what a Kiddush Hashem if she was chosen. And she asked her halachic shailas, like, imagine what I have to do about kosher if I was up in the moon. I don't think Shabbos was involved, but she asked, before she applied, and she applied to be a teacher to go on the moon. And unfortunately, 11,000 people applied. She was not chosen to go on the moon. This lady, Krista McAuliffe, was chosen, and the whole America was so excited. It was broadcasted on television. It was broadcasted on radio. Everyone was watching. January 27th, 1986, 73 seconds after this rocket ship launched, it exploded in the air and killed this teacher with the entire nation watching. And you could imagine it was like something that everyone was looking forward to. And students, teachers, the president, the country. And Mrs. Kornbluth felt so vulnerable. She was like in shock. She could have been on that rocket ship. Actually, she was the runner-up. She was not chosen at the end. But she could have been on that rocket ship. And she was shaken. She was in shock as much as you were imagine watching it, you would be in shock. She was 10 times more in shock. And now it came the day she had to walk into her classroom back to school. And as she's walking down the hallway, she feels like they're snickering at her, the kids are looking at her, and she's feeling vulnerable, and she didn't know what to do. She didn't know what to feel exactly. Like she was just shaken. And as she's walking down the hallway to go to her class, a little boy with a smirk on his face is like, Mrs. Kornbluth, and she just like wanted to get through the day, go to her classroom, and he called her name again, and she turned around, and he's like, Mrs. Kornbluth, and she's like, yes, and he had like this smirk on his face, and he's like, I wish you were on that rocket ship. And she's like, what? What did I just hear this boy tell me? I'm a principal, you're all leaders. If a kid said such a thing to a teacher, there would be a phone call home, they would be sent home, they would be suspended, they're chutzpahdik, they might need a meeting with a social worker, maybe a psychologist. Like, what kind of sadistic thing is this to say? I wish you were on that rocket ship. But Mrs. Kornbluth took a minute, and she said, why do you wish that? What do you mean? And he said, Mrs. Kornbluth, you are such a tzaddikas that if you were on that rocket ship, it would have never exploded. And I get chills when I say this story because she knew what collaboration was. She collaborated with that little boy. It wasn't me, teacher, against you. Chutzpah, can't follow directions, socially off, smirking, snickering, screaming after a teacher in the hallway. What do you mean? What do you mean? Why do you think that? She collaborated with that student. That was her first, she paused. She was patient. She collaborated with him. And he said, you're such a tzaddikas, it would have never exploded. And that's really what we need to think day in, day out with our students, with our teachers, with our schools. Taking that moment, taking that minute and thinking, why do you think that? Where are you coming from? Even though what you heard is exactly what you heard, but it's not exactly what you heard. And so, I had a feeling this would happen. Let me see. Oh no, okay, great. So I want to take a moment to reset something that's not working in our school with collaboration. It could be an area in our school. It could be a topic. We're all doing our best. We're all doing very well. Today we're going to be learning about the reset framework, 5 essential areas to transform your school through collaborative leadership. R is for relationships. E is for engaging parents. S is structures and systems. E is empower your team. And T is tethers. We're going to go through it. For those of you that want to know what tethers are, these are tethers that are holding the balloon in place. It's what grounds us as leaders. And that's a very important piece in our leadership. But I want you to think, pair, and share right now for a few minutes. There are some Post-it notes on the table. Take a minute, find the person sitting next to you, okay? Think about which one of these are you good at? That you excel at? Give an example. Which one is the hardest for you? And which one is the most important, you think? Okay, so take a few minutes now to think, pair with someone at your table and share. Okay, we're gonna circle back. Shh. I'm so happy that this is such a lively discussion. Shh. Does anyone want to share? Does anyone want to share something that's hard for them, an example of something that's hard for them? Or maybe we'll start with Excel. Anyone excel in any of these areas that they have it down pat?
I can talk about my principal who's sitting right here.
Okay. Please do.
I'm just saying what you excel at. She's excellent, Mrs. Edelman, on a lot of these things. She's A+, but A++, structure and systems, she's got it down pat. That's hard. That's my down pat. And she can take a schedule and redo it. How many schedules have we had so far? Yeah.
So thank you for sharing. We're gonna start with R, and R is for relationships. And for relationships, I really wanna focus on your teachers and the people in your building, your staff in your building. So many times we have new teachers that come into our building and we throw them to the wolves. They're in a brand new classroom. We're so busy, we're working so hard, we're managing an entire school, and these teachers are mamish drowning. I have two friends that went with me we got our undergrad together, our master's together. One is a top real estate agent in Brooklyn, and one is an interior designer for mansions, and you could only hire her if you're building your house from scratch. And we were mamish in the same class. We were learning the same thing. We gave the same model lessons, and we were doing the same thing. And I asked them, like, it's funny. I was an assistant teacher. I became a teacher, and Baruch Hashem, now I'm a principal. And they were classroom teachers, but then something happened along the way that they weren't anymore. And not only they didn't become stay-at-home moms. They did want to work. They did want to have, busy careers. This is not even like being ahead of her real estate agency is mamish called Befar Team in Brooklyn. Her name is Karen Befar. She was in my class. That's her real estate agency. It's hers. She's not working for somebody. And it's because with teachers that stay and teachers that are good, it's because the principals didn't delegate the connections with that teacher. The principal took that teacher under their wing and made sure to take care of them. And I had that. Her name was Mrs. Jolovitz. I was teaching at Magen David Yeshiva in Brooklyn, a Syrian school. And I didn't know what I was doing. I only applied to be a teacher because I wanted to go to college. I didn't want to add extra to my parents' financials. And so I said, I need a job, but I want them to pay for my degree also. And so they were very good. They sent my paychecks to Turo, and I was able to get my degrees and be a teacher at the same time. But she took me under her wing. And she didn't just say, you have to do this, you have to do that. No. She came in, she did a model lesson for me when she wanted to teach me how to teach reading, think, pair, share. She came in with a book, I still remember. It was called Big Al. It was about a fish in the ocean. And she taught it to the class, not in a condescending way. She took care of me. It was parent-teacher conferences. She said, Chana, it's parent-teacher conferences tonight. If anyone asks you if you have any experience, just tell them that you're very good with kids, you've worked. Don't lie, but this is what they're going to ask you. She went through different questions that parents might ask me. And she said, what are you going to wear tonight? I'm like, what am I going to wear tonight? She's like, yeah, you have to look professional. Do you have maybe like a white crisp shirt and a black skirt, something clean and classy? I'm like, yeah, I do. And she literally told me what to do, and she believed in me. And it's because of her that I'm a principal. And my friends were in schools where the principal had too much on their plate, couldn't handle it, and maybe they would have been superstars in the classroom, but they did not take care of their teachers. And so now we have Karen Befar Real Estate Agency in Brooklyn. And so from all the jobs that you have, try to delegate, but take care of your young teachers. Take care of your young mothers. I had a young mother. I remember when I was a young mother, also teaching in that school, I was the youngest mom, and every time my child would wake up with a fever, I felt sick, because how am I going to tell my principal that I can't come in today? My child's not feeling well, and they're not in school. It was like I just couldn't send them, and I just always felt judged. And so now I was able to work it out with my school that I have a floating sub. She's an assistant. I put it in the budget from the beginning of the year. I told them, please, I need this girl. She's an assistant. She'll be in the preschool when no one's absent. But if anyone's absent, I take her. I put her in the classroom. There's no stress for me. There's no stress for the teachers. Another teacher, amazing teacher, she's so professional. Her name is Neda, and she teaches 4th grade girls. And she told me, Mrs. Kashi, I won't be able to come back next year. I'm like, what? You're such a good teacher, and I'm such a good principal. I take care of you. What do you mean? She's like, my girls are starting a new school, and we have dismissal at 4 o'clock, and they're going to be dismissed at 3 o'clock. And so it's really important for me to be there for my girls when they come home. And so it's not professional for me to sign on to be a teacher in the school next year, because there's no way that I could stay till 4 o'clock. So I won't be coming in next year. And I thought to myself, how much do we differentiate for our students? For our students, we differentiate, we write on the board, we make a song, we do jumping jacks, but for our teachers, we don't differentiate. And I said, you know what? I'm going to work it out that I'll take art, I'll take gym, I'll take STEM, and I'm gonna put it in that last hour of the day. While I have my floater, she'll do the 15 minutes of recess. You leave at 3 o'clock, 3 to 3:15, they'll have the recess, and 3:15 till 4 o'clock, they'll have their gym, their art, their STEM, and current events. And we worked it out. She came a little bit earlier than her usual 12:30 time slot. She came in at 12 o'clock, and we rode the storm together. And this year, her schedule is back to normal, and she's still a teacher on my team. But I could have lost someone so good because I wasn't flexible. I'm thinking, yeah, you're right. Your contract says 4 o'clock, but that's not going to work in our school. But why not? Why not? We differentiate for our students. Why not differentiate for our teachers? Also, our cleaning staff, our janitors, know their names, smile. You're the face of the school. You have to make sure everyone feels loved. Hello, good morning. You are being watched by arrival, by dismissal. I had a bus driver that came to me and she told me, Mrs. Kashi, I can't take this boy on my bus anymore. He's so disruptive. He's fighting with everybody on the bus. Call the mom and tell the mom that he can't. It's a private pay bus because they don't live in the district, and I'm not taking him anymore. The mother's working full time. The father's working full time, and I'm like, Arlene, you can't do this. She's like, I'm sorry. He's disrespectful. I gave him so many chances. So I said, you know what? What would help? She's like, he needs some sort of game. I went on Amazon. I found like a very cool Checkers Connect 4. It doesn't need Wi-Fi. It's 100 games on this device. I overnighted it. It came. And I went to Arlene the next day by dismissal. And I said, here, this is for you. Give it to this boy. Don't tell him it's from me. But hopefully now he won't be bothering other people because he'll be busy. And I thought about that. And I said, wow, like because I know Arlene and I always ask about her and how she's doing and her family, she came to me to collaborate about our students. Imagine she kicked this boy off the bus. She had every right to because it's a private pay. She can handle him and he would be distracting the driver. But now he comes to school every single day because there was a solution. She couldn't think of the solution and I would have not known about the problem had we not collaborated. And so relationships are really important in our day-to-day and helping collaborate between everybody on your team. Another point I wanted to bring up, and Sippy actually brought it up, is that sending your teachers to professional development. It's so nice that we're here and we're learning and we're collaborating, but making an effort, if you see an email for AMATS or differentiating instruction or something about I'm an English principal, so I'm thinking about the math or the reading groups. Send your teachers, bring in someone to teach your teachers also, because your teachers are the front line to the students. We get to see our students whenever we get to see them. Yeah, we see them, but your teachers are the face every single day. And so making sure your teachers are prepared and your teachers have the patience and your teachers are the ones that are saying, why are you doing that? Like the rocket ship story that we just said. That's really the key. We want to prevent disasters before they happen. Okay, the next part of reset is engaging parents. And I know that this is like a very big topic for engaging parents. Anyone wrote something down that they want to share before we get into it on engaging parents? Does anyone engage parents in their schools?
Yes. For me, that like thinking about which part is the hardest.
Yeah.
I mentioned that because it's on in front of my face, it's the easiest to neglect.
Right.
The relationship with the students and the staff, it's like it's obvious that you need to do that. Having a relationship with parents is necessary, but it's harder to remember.
Right. So I feel like also in elementary school, it's much easier to engage with the parents because I'm accessible and the problems aren't that big. They are, but they know where to find me. And so for this special talk, I spoke to my friend Malky Bergstein. She's the principal of Ehud High Schools in Borough Park. And she has an amazing program of how she engages parents. And she brought a different perspective. She told me, of course I engage the parents all the time. I make a special night. It's called Your Voice Matters. And she invites all the mothers to a beautiful dinner. Stam. Nothing like, not parent-teacher conferences, nothing. And she prints out for each mom their daughter's schedule. And she writes exactly what time they have davening, what time is chumash, what time is yahadus, what time is lunch, what time they have a free period, and all their English subjects. And she tells the parents, what do you like about your daughter's schedule? Do you think I need to change anything about your daughter's schedule? Would your daughter rather have a free in the middle of the day or have an earlier dismissal on Tuesdays? And she said, so many times parents are like head to head with principals because they feel like you're on opposite teams. And so like, I'm right, you're right, I'm right. She's like, I give them the buy-in from the beginning. I involve them from the beginning to show them we're all on the same team, and they help me. They're the experts on their daughters. They're the experts on their kids. Parents know kids the best. Yes, we know education, we do. But think about a child of yours, and think about a problem that they had, and your fears when you were addressing their teacher. I had it. I'm a principal, I'm an educator, and I got a phone call that my 4th grader, my son, that, you know, he's not really, he can't sit, and he's basically, he's very, very bored in class, and I know that he's a hands-on child. There's no flexible seating. They're literally sitting the entire time in their desk. And so he goes to the back of his backpack and he fidgets with his spinner and whatever, but it's not a problem, but it's just that the other kids, and so I have to bite my tongue because I have to be a mom now. I have to really respect the teacher, but it's really about my child and how are we going to make it better for my child. So what? So he's always going to be called out and he's not going to be the best and he's going to be the one that can't sit? No, maybe we could incorporate some sort of, it's a boys' classroom and it's English in the afternoon. Maybe the Mora could do a center. I thought of a great idea. He loves Legos. He loves it. He's so smart. He helps build my sukkahs. He helps me when I have guests. He helps me clean the kitchen. And I tell him something and he does it. He takes care of it. He doesn't forget. So I had a STEM teacher in my school and I told him, Mora, I'll sponsor a session of STEM. Is it okay if Mr. Steven comes to your classroom and he does a STEM robotics class with them? And they could learn all about science and physics, exactly what they're learning, but he's going to do it through robotics. And she said, that's a great idea. And so I introduced them, and the school agreed that I would sponsor one session, and the school would sponsor one session, and now, Baruch Hashem, it's a special every other week in his class. And he feels so good because he's not bored, he's learning science, it's hands-on, and it was a collaboration. It was something that we thought about together. And so if we think about the triangle and the collaboration, and it's not, there's no beginning and end in a triangle. It's all one triangle, no matter which way you turn it. There's no one first, there's no one second, we're all in it together.
Fine, when you engage parents,
Yes.
I don't have that problem that much, but the remedial room, let's say, every mother wants their child to go out during the lunch period and
Yes.
during davening and not to miss out on class
Yes.
time. And you really can make every mother happy.
For sure. But maybe we could do some sort of schedule where it's something for the first 3 months and then something else for the next 3, like a rotation. Meaning if there is a period for them to go out for lunch, maybe they could have it for the first 3 months of the year and then someone else for the next 3 months of the year and someone else, you know, make a rotation. But also, parents are our friends, and so many times it became like not following rules or not complying, and then the parents are blindly advocating for their kids, and they don't understand, they don't know the why of the school, and you don't know the why of the parent. So not when there's a problem to start having meetings with them. Open up the lines of communication before. Yes.
Yeah, so somebody once gave me an amazing tip. If you can establish a positive basis of relationship, in other words, anytime you have anything good to say about a student, I noticed her cleaning up after the chagiga. I noticed her helping a friend send an email to the parent right away. And I started doing that. And then if you ever do have to have a conversation with the parent about something less pleasant, at least it's coming from a place that is.
Exactly. Also, being visible. So inviting parents to your school for specific things, like maybe you have a mother-daughter Rosh Chodesh breakfast or something like that. But if you're never seen with the parents, when they do see you, it's like they caught you and then they want your ear. But if you're visible and they're always coming and going, try to think of parents in your school that maybe wrote a cookbook, maybe they're a doctor, maybe something, some sort of guest speaker to bring them into your building so that they see how hard you're working for the students and that you're on the same page, but also that buy-in, that they feel like we're in it together. They also need to feel like that also. They also need to feel like that. Also in your communities. I love having guest speakers. I think that the students learn so much when there's someone like fresh and new. Remember when we were little and like our teachers would come in with a bag and we're like, oh, we're doing an experiment today. Like we were so excited about it. So even just inviting parents, like thinking about, I don't know, someone like a mayor of our city. Like you could go and do Michelle, who's the mayor. I've started, there's a mother in our school that gives shirim. She does shar habitachon every week. She has a different shir in someone's house. And so one, like selfishly, because I could never make it, I was always in school, I said, you know what? Why don't you come and we'll host your shir in our school? We'll have a breakfast for the moms, and you're giving the same shir anyway in the community every Tuesday morning. This Tuesday morning, come to our school and we'll host it. And all the moms came. I had some bagels and coffee, and I was there. I was listening for a few minutes. I left, but let them come see the school. You're not hiding anything, unless you're hiding something. If you're hiding something, yeah, don't invite them and don't engage with them. But you're not. You're working so hard. You want them to see you in action. You want them to feel like, wow, I'm so happy my child goes to this school. I'm so happy that they have this principal. I'm so happy that they have these teachers. Like, wow, what an amazing school. So that I feel like it's an important piece. One interesting thing is getting feedback from the parents in the forms of questionnaires and surveys. This is something new. I don't think many yeshivas do it yet. In the public schools, they do it all the time. If they have an author study or they have a PTA, right after they send out a survey to the parents. How did you think the classrooms looked? What did you think about the professionalism? Was there parking? Would you choose another time? And then they use this data to help in future events. And actually, I'm so busy, like all of you, I'm sure, you're so busy. I have like a lady that comes to thread my eyebrows in the house. And she's an Indian lady. She's really amazing. And I don't have to leave, so it's good. She comes to me Friday mornings usually. And then one Friday, she came really late. She's like, could I come at 3 o'clock? And when she came, I'm like, Jody, why are you so late? She's like, my daughter had an event in school, and I couldn't miss it. And it was in the morning. And as I was leaving, she started crying and crying, don't leave, don't leave, don't leave. And it was so hard for me, and that's why I was late, and I was running late to work. I'm like, you know, you're a working mom. Maybe you should tell the school, if you're ever going to do an event, maybe do it half an hour before dismissal or an hour before dismissal, so that, especially it's a kindergarten classroom, they could leave with you. And she's like, that's such a good idea. I'm going to put in the survey. They actually just sent me a survey yesterday before we even came to the event to fill out how did things go. And so her voice is going to be heard in this public school because they asked their parents, what do you prefer? And it's such an easy thing. You get your data. Do you prefer to have the sitter play on a Sunday, on a Matzei Shabbos? Do you prefer to have the Chumash play on, I don't know, think about different things that you could ask the parents. You know how when you have kids that hate to wear the clothes, and so you tell them you have an option of these two that you approve, and you're still in charge.
Yes.
I love what Chana said. And just to take it one step further, we just had our school production, and we sent out an email to the people who attended with pictures and any feedback that they had. And we also added, is there anything that you'd like to share with our students? So it's nice that you could also ask parents to share any message that they have for your students, and then you could then come back to school and say, oh, you wouldn't believe what this girl's mother said, or whatever it is, and it really gives the kids chazak also.
That's a really, really great idea. Okay, S is for structures and systems. So a lot of times we need help in this area because we're more people. We're more a people's person. We're good with relationships. We're good at making events. We're creative. But a lot of times for a school to run smoothly, you need to have structures and systems. You need to have systems in place. So I like to take the summer months. That's when I do my parent handbook. That's when I do uniform compliance. That's when I do my website, making sure that everything's cleaned up and we don't have COVID pictures with masks. I think maybe there are a few still, but that's when we do the systems and the structures. We take some time in the summer. It's quiet in the building. I could work with my Hebrew principal. But also, formal observations as collaboration. Now, this might seem like, what? Going to observe a teacher is collaboration? Like, that might seem like criticism or critiquing a teacher. No. Formal observation is telling the teachers that you're going to be going in on a set basis, steady basis, consistent basis, and it's about, what do you need from me? How could I help you? So I like to go into a certain classroom, let's say every Monday for 5 minutes, and I'll go in, and she knows I'm coming in, and I'll just observe. How are the students doing? How's her lesson going? Does she have enough materials? Is there anything that I could help with or support with? And after the observation, we collaborate together. And it's not top down. It's not I'm her boss and she's my employee. It's together. What do you think went well? Do you think this was a good representation of you? Do you need any more materials? What's not working in your classroom? And it's for the teacher to know that I have her back and I'm there for her. Rena, yes.
So I actually tried this once and it was very successful. I asked teachers in advance if there was something specific that they wanted my help with when I came in.
That's great.
And that really was successful and each teacher identified something else.
Right.
And very often it was the problem that I would have seen.
Very good.
But it's very good.
It's a very, I think we feel like the observations are like we're being watched. Like, imagine when you were a teacher and there was observers in the back and you start closing up and you can't teach. But if it's a friendly visit and if it's someone and when you come in, you build up the teacher in front of the students. You're so lucky to have this, Mora. Wow, you're learning about the letter E. Wow, that's amazing. What could you share? Wow, Mora, they're so lucky to have you. We're so lucky to have you in our school. Building them up as well when you're doing the observation. Now, there's observations that are 5 pages. There's observations that are a paragraph. You could look online. There's the Danielson framework where it's many, many different areas where a teacher might need help with. But maybe you choose with a teacher, what would you like me, like Rena said, what do you want me to come in for? What do you want me to help you with? Is it classroom management? Is it lesson planning? Is it bringing more technology into the classroom if that's something that your school does? So really collaborating with your students. Revisit systems during the year. In middle of the year, now would be a good time to revisit what's working and what's not working. Do you have a uniform policy that's not working and you feel like you're a policeman all day writing up students? Then that's not working. There's something wrong with your system. So maybe revisit it and see what's going on. What could we clear up? If we're going to make a rule, we have to enforce it. And actually, this is an article that I read, not with Jewish schools at all, with schools that have uniforms. There are a lot of Catholic and not Jewish schools that have uniform. And the principals wrote that they felt like they were policemen day and night in their classrooms. They would come in and they would say, you're wearing the wrong sweater, you're wearing the wrong shirt. And all day they would have to write up these students. They would have to follow up. You know how much paperwork that is to follow up with who complied with the uniform, who didn't comply with the uniform? So basically finding out the why. I found out that parents didn't have time to order new uniforms in the middle of the year, so the girls' skirts were short. That's why they were wearing short skirts. Made a very nice PDF with links exactly where to order the uniform shirt from, uniform skirt from, and this was the email that went to the parents. Time to reorder uniforms, easy as a click of a button, and they had a tznius skirt the next day or two. I also started a uniform gemach in my office. If anyone has a bigger size of uniform that they don't need anymore, and this way, if a kid was wearing something too small, this is again elementary school, something too small, or maybe it's a parent problem. Parent didn't get a chance to do the laundry. They're not wearing the right shirt. Listen, we're not policemen. At the end of the day, we're here for the child. In high school, it's different. But if you feel like something is not working in your school, don't keep going at it. Sit down, try to find out. Is it because it's not reasonable? Maybe it is. Maybe it's, try to find out why it's not working instead of writing them up and just creating more problems for yourself. Did someone have their hand up? Yes.
Can I ask a question about formal observations and collaboration?
Yes.
So I find that in preschools and in elementary schools, it's very normal to observe a teacher. I'm wondering if there's a high school principal here who can tell us if she, yes, I would love to hear from Mrs.
Yes.
Nightcloth. I think it's much more tricky. High school teachers are less flexible.
100%.
And high school principals are more insecure about observing the class.
Okay, so before, I'm gonna have her answer also. So when I spoke to, So I spoke to Malky Bergstein about this, and I invited her to Amatz. I really hope she comes one year. So she told me that the key is that you tell them in the beginning of the year that it's happening. It's gonna be happening, and it's nothing new. We're moving towards observations. And she said she noticed she's like a perfectionist, and she's very blunt. So a speech language pathologist, a speech therapist that works with the high school girls, is more soft. So they go in together as a team, and they do whatever, the few minutes of observation, but she has her speak to the teacher in a very soft tone, like, oh, it's so nice you called on this girl, and maybe you should move this girl. And so she realized that, maybe the dynamic isn't good. She's great, but she just, her personality didn't go. And so she had a team. Yes. So you said that you do it in high school.
I gain a lot. I observe my students. I see how they're reacting to the lessons, how they're learning, how they participate. I can compliment specific students on specific things that go on in the classroom. And then I go forward to the teachers that need a little bit more help. B'shas I'm here, I do my own work. I check stencils. I don't actually watch and show the girls that I'm observing the teacher per se. I gain a lot. It could be a general subject, hysteria, what needs to be tweaked, Chumash, what needs to be tweaked, Navi, what needs to be tweaked. So it's not specific, a specific teacher. And then if there was a specific teacher that I was in the classroom literally like about 18 times last year, but that's why she's still teaching in high school.
Right, but does the student think that you're assessing their teacher?
It depends. I had a teacher, a seventh grade teacher.
What's wrong with
She had a very hard time with classroom management. And I said, I'm not coming in to observe you. I'm coming in to help you to observe the classroom. Every day that she was in school, I would take a stack of plan books, whatever I needed to do, and sit in the corner, and I was busy. I did not watch her. I loved being in her classroom. I saw that this teacher really has potential.
That's what it takes.
And the students, I heard from the mothers, of course, when you're inside, she's a different teacher. But the following year, she was a star. She's teaching for her. Third or fourth year.
There must be a way to build high school teachers. There must be a way to do it.
Yes.
But I still
Thank you. I think if we use the time to go in and also maybe compliment the teachers when we go in. The first few times we go and just find something that the teacher feels then safe and that she welcomes your presence because you're complimenting her. You're finding good things that she does. That the one time that you have to tell her and help her and support her is she feels that you're there for her and with her. I'll have teachers who'll actually invite me. I ask them to invite me when they're doing projects or programs in their classroom. So it becomes part of the culture that I'm going into the classroom all the time, both invited and uninvited. And when uninvited, I'm complimenting. So it really just becomes part of that very safe space.
Right. But it's those teachers that end up being teachers, the ones that have the open mindset to be observed. Yes.
I can't really.
You don't want to.
I do want to share, but I'm in preschool, so it's a whole different ballgame.
We should learn from you.
So I pre-printed before the school year in the summer, like a half sheet, cute, colorful note. It says "Shout out to teacher," with a dash, with a few lines, and signed from a very grateful whatever I signed, in school. And then every time I noticed something, I went into the classroom and I saw something that I liked, I would just literally scribble 3 lines. Shout out to teacher Gitty for the vibes in her classroom, during the Hanukkah lesson, whatever it was, and it's hanging in the hallway, just like a hospital has like the employee of the month. So every teacher gets a chance to shine, and also they want me to notice. So automatically, they're like, could you come to my classroom? You have to see how they're singing this song. So automatically, I have an opportunity to compliment them and to demand more.
Positive reinforcement goes a long way. Yes, and complimenting the students as well. Yes. Shh, 1 minute.
So I have my own personal trauma. When I was a second-year teacher and I was getting engaged that night, and my principal came in to observe me. Now, I was completely not prepared, and we had these, I was teaching Parsha, and so I had the sheets of like the outline of what I was teaching, and I was literally teaching straight off the sheet. And she came in and observed my entire lesson. Yeah, but it was like, but it didn't help. It was a terrible lesson. In any case, to me, when a principal comes in my years after teaching, after that, I always tell the principal, could you just in and out, please? Like, even though I was a confident, very successful teacher, like, somehow it created, like, this tension. Yeah. What I do with my teachers, because I do think that it's necessary for a principal to be in the classroom, I think for a number of reasons, but I ask my teachers permission. It's the kind of, till after Sukkot, nothing. It's their domain. I tell them, I'm your space. I want you to build your own environment. And then after I say, I want to start coming into the classrooms. Is it okay? Do you have a specific day? Or is it, anytime? Tell me. I don't stay long. I come in for about 5-7 minutes max. Every teacher says, for sure. Because I asked, and almost, I think in all the years, I only had one teacher who told me no. But also with my feedback, I find that I don't give feedback directly after it's just information for me, that when I'm dealing with the teacher and we're discussing things, I know what's going on in her room. I know her dynamic, right. So it's like, oh, it's so nice to be in your room, but specific, like I'm giving you feedback on how you teach in your lesson, not like that. It's just information that I now have.
So I feel like every leader, every principal knows the ship that they're leading, and they know which teachers need it more. Your experienced teachers, you don't, but you have that teacher, and we're going to talk about veteran teachers that are very resistant to change. They need it the most. It's like the parents that need to come to the conferences, and they're the ones that don't show up. So it is an issue, because we can't also have a system and a structure, and then people are not following it. So it is a very, very important thing. Okay, so moving along. We're doing well? Okay. E is for empowering your team and building trust. So you brought up, what if you have a teacher that doesn't want it and says, if you walk in, I'm walking out? I don't know, you have a big problem, because so many of the changes that we want to do, we need our team. So then if we're talking about being patient and loving every single child, and you have a kid and you have a teacher that's not doing that and they're doing the opposite, is that right for the students in the classroom? But you shouldn't ignore it, and you shouldn't push it under the rug. Yes. So, but I didn't think she has stage fright to tell a principal, if you walk in, you're walking out. Sorry. So I should have asked. She's still close to you that she could say that. Yeah. Yeah. Shh. Yes. Who's calling me? Yes. 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 Exactly. Yes. So one of the pieces that Rena just brought up is school culture, okay? Now, I didn't grow up with that word. I went to Yeshiva of Brooklyn. I loved it. It was such an amazing school. Rabbi Mendel was my principal. but I never heard the word school culture, but it's coming up now. And culture means how the teachers interact, how the school interacts. What's the culture? What's the vibe? What's the aura? And so if, let's say, in the beginning of the school year, when you're having your professional development in August, and you're saying, we're working towards a culture of being more collaborative. We want to be on the same team. We want the principals to know about the lessons. We want all of this, and I'm going to be coming in for 5-minute observations. I know it's scary. Maybe if you want, schedule a date, the last date that's available. Like, try to collaborate with them. But we're bringing in change. We're bringing in new life. We're bringing in how things are done better. We're not washing our clothing in the river like our grandparents did, right? Does everyone have a washing machine and a dryer in their house? So why aren't we changing things in education? So yes, she has stage fright. Yes, work with her, but be together. How could I help you? You're not comfortable? Okay, let's see, what can we do? But we are going to be moving forward as a team to do these small observations. And really empower your team would come before the observation.
5 minutes. Tell her, what's the easiest subject for me to walk into your classroom and say, I'll do it only for 5 minutes?
Yeah.
I also was thinking, like, I had this idea for like next year, but then I was thinking that we're starting a third term now, and I think I want to do it
Think about it now, yes.
That for new teachers, like Thursday after school, because they usually have morning situations, that the new teachers should stay on for like 20 minutes and all of them together to discuss their week. Because my teachers feel, many of them, if they're not managing, they feel very like singled out, that they're like never.
What about, so one of the principals that I was speaking to, she said she has like a hot cocoa club or a drink club. Like she orders like a fun thing, like a juice. Yeah, and then they feel like a little bit, and why don't you change it to like mentorship? Everyone wants a mentor. That's great. They like it or they don't like it? You want to do it. Yeah. Very nice. I love it. And they feel like they're all in the same boat. Yes. Todd Whitaker has an amazing book that I highly recommend. It's called What Great Principals Do Differently. And he writes in his book, he did much research on this. And he said, teachers want to feel supported and valued. At the end of the day, that's what teachers want. They want the thank you, they want the smile, and maybe the observation came off like, I tried to say, it's not top down, it's we're in it together, but you have to change the culture because we have traumas of observation, but it's not like that anymore. It's a new kind of observation. But people don't just quit their jobs, they quit their bosses. If they don't like working for you, and this was his quote, which I really loved, if they don't like working for you, that will be part of the reason why they'll make excuses why it's not going to work for them to work in the school or be in chinuch or whatever it is. And so that's why really it's our job to collaborate with the teachers and make sure that we have their buy-in and that we're on their team. Also, once we hire outstanding teachers, we have to do everything to keep them at this level of effectiveness and to keep them at their jobs. And I know that money is a big deal, salary, dollars and cents, pennies. And I remember reading like in the comment section in the Mishpacha that this teacher wrote that, they had a whole conversation about teachers and how they don't get paid enough and how teachers ended up leaving because of the salary. And she wrote that she went to her principal's office like before Pesach, and she's like, I really have no money. I need more money. I wish you would give me a raise, and I need it. And he turned to her and he said, why don't you daven to Hashem and daven to Hashem, and Hashem's going to take care of everything. And Amir Hashem, I give you a bracha, that you have tzlacha in your parnasa, and don't worry, Hashem's going to take care of it. And she said, why don't you raise everybody's salaries and you daven to Hashem that Hashem's going to take care of the school budget and the school will be okay and the school will be able to pay their bills. And so if there's any way that you could compensate your teachers monetarily, I know it's very, very hard, but if you could find some way to fundraise on the side or get your hands on some cash to help them, send a dinner, we used to have a simcha fund where we would send some money to teachers that were making a simcha or something small. But think about the financial aspect and taking care of the teachers as well. But also think about other ways you could compensate them. You want your teachers to do professional development. Make it easy for them. Send them to Amatz in the summer and tell them, you're going to 2 days for Amatz. I'm going to give you 2 days during the school year to take off. And don't worry about it. It's going to be counted as 2 extra absent days. How many teachers will feel good to go to Amatz? They're not wasting their July days. Yes.
I used to, my whole teaching schedule revolved around, I'm gonna make a lot of announcements, but my OB schedule, because I had to travel.
Yes.
I said my whole teaching schedule revolved around my OB schedule, because I had to have the day off to be able to travel to Manhattan. And one year, one of the schools that I taught in was missing a teacher, and they were very desperate that I take that slot, and it was on my day that is sacrosanct, was off, and they wanted me to come in the morning. It was my only day off for the week, and I told her there's no way I could do it. I don't know, I need that day off. She said, when you need that day off, you tell me, I will give it to you, I will pay you for it, I will make it work for you. And not only that, when she heard at the beginning of the year, around Kislev time, I was so worn out, and I was not feeling well, and she called me up, said, I hear on your voice you have a bad cold, you're not doing well, please take the day off tomorrow, I'm paying you for it. Now, next week, she gave me 2 days off. She made it work for me in every single which way. This is the only way that good teachers stay in the classroom.
I'm you're a living example.
Their personal life, like I have a few teachers that have older siblings that need shidduchim, and I always ask for their name, and I keep telling them, I'm davening for your sister. And it means so much to them. Like I had a few, like 2 or 3 teachers that they're like, I just wanted you to know you're the first one my sister's getting engaged.
Like it gets taxed much more. And in Arizona, when we have the lower revenue, they don't get the money order. That's great. So that it's not taxed. That's
Very smart.
So it's like a double, otherwise it's getting 30% off.
Give that money directly to
In terms of that, just being creative about what the money is.
100%. That's it, but it does come down to monies and cents. But if they have a nice boss and they have a warm school environment, it's worth it. That's compensation. That's compensation. Yay! I'm so happy. I'm so happy that everyone's starting this conversation together. In my community, we have a lot of collectors that come in the shul in the morning when the men are davening, and they ask for tzedakah. I didn't know this was a thing. Apparently by Shachris time, there's a lot of people giving tzedakah. And I was telling my husband that we needed money for some sort of programming. And I wanted to bring an author and teach about publishing. And I really didn't have the money. Part of a small school, I feel like I couldn't ask them for more money. We were struggling for paychecks to make it on time, but I really wanted to do it. And my husband heard, and he raised $1,800 in chakras that morning from his friends. I don't know. I guess the men were more easy to give, $263. He's like, it's for the school and the community. And so that was an eye-opening thing. And now people collecting for Purim, I told my students, don't collect for random organizations, but maybe collect for our school also. Get your $50, your $20. We could get stuff for the classroom also, but think outside of the box. Yes, maybe you cannot compensate the same salary, but if you're good to work with and you invest in your teachers and you send them to PDs and you tell them, I'm going to cover the cost, I'm going to give you the days off during the year, you're investing in yourself as a teacher. I would go to every single PD that was offered to me, foundations and reading, because I was investing in my own brain. I was getting information in my own brain. Now I have that on my resume. So change the culture in your school. It's not a punishment to go to a PD. It's not a punishment to take this Zoom class. You're investing in yourself. There was a new reading curriculum that came out. It's called IMSI. It's multi-sensory approach. You've heard of Orton Gillingham for reading? So I sent a teacher, and we got funding from the district. It was very expensive, $1,700 a person, but they were covering it. But it was 5 days in July. I said, if you go, I'll give you 5 days off in the brutal winter. No problem, no questions asked. You could take off sporadically. I'll take care of it. And I told her, you could tutor on the side. You could have this in your back pocket, and now you're an IMSI tutor. You're an Orton Gillingham tutor. When you play it that way, when you present it that way to your teachers, you're going to Amatz, you're going to be getting chizuk, you're going to be taken care of, you're going to have beautiful meals, beautiful hotel overnight. Who wouldn't want that? Who wouldn't want that? No, everyone should go. And really, So please take turns. Make a go roll. Make it a fun raffle. Who could go? The last thing that I wanted to address is veteran teachers who are resisting change. So a lot of times we have teachers that are veterans and they've been doing things for a long time and they resist any sort of change that you bring in. And like, Baruch Hashem, I was able to build my team, but when I did start at my school 6 years ago, I had teachers that were there longer than me and older than me, and I had to play like by a fine line because I didn't want to be that person that's changing everything, but at the same time, like, we're not in the dinosaur age anymore. And so what I learned was that you have to build their trust, you have to empower them and bring them in at the first step of what you're thinking about changing in the school. Buy-in. They have to feel like they're invested in the school. And if it's hard for them, maybe they're really not good at technology, and maybe you could find a mentor for them or someone to help them with that because they're scared. They might fear the change. A lot of times it's not because they're resistant, because they're just oppositional. There is a reason why they are resisting the change, and that's your place to find out why and how you could make it work.
Also, these older teachers, if they're going to change, then it's really a ripple effect.
Yes. And so investing in them and getting the buy-in from them in a positive way, because also chas v'shalom, if they're the negative poison in your school, in your teachers, that's also not okay. And we're going to end off with the last part of the reset, which is tethers. Everyone sees this hot air balloon. Now, there are two kinds of hot air balloons. You could go to New Mexico and rent a hot air balloon, and you go into the hot air balloon and you say goodbye to whoever's down on the ground, and the hot air balloon takes you up, and the winds are blowing, and if it's clear that day, then you'll have a nice ride, and when you're ready to come, they'll pull you down, and when you get off, you feel like worn out and gone. Then there's the hot air balloon that you'll see at a state fair, and the hot air balloon at a state fair has 4 strong tethers, ropes, that ground it to the ground. The hot air balloon goes up. You see the beautiful view. You see the Ferris wheel. You see the people walking in the fair. You see the little kids. And then the hot air balloon comes down and you get off and your shaitel's not messed up and you look beautiful and you're calm. And I want all of you to be like this hot air balloon, to keep grounded as you are leaders. And we cannot be like the other hot air balloon that when we're in our school during the day and there's chaos and there's parents sending emails and there's emergencies with students and we're wiped out, the winds are blowing so strong. And then we come home, we have a classroom of our own at home, some of us, we have our children, we have our husbands that are like Kanainahara more than children, we have our family obligations. You can't be wiped out by what was going on during the day. You need to be tethered, you need to be stable. And there are 4 tethers that keep you grounded. I actually heard this idea from Mark Minkus, who is, he has the Private School Leader podcast, and he's a private school leader, not of a yeshiva, but he has so many common themes and goals. We're all part of private schools, not public schools. And he said that the 4 tethers are, one is Hashem, self-care, family, and your why. And let's start with Hashem. You need to have Hashem in your life every single day. Now, it might seem easy, like you have your sitter, you daven. Try to go to a shir. Try to learn about the Yom Tov a little bit, Purim, Shabbos, Yom, infuse some spirituality in your day, something with Hashem. Talk to Hashem on a daily basis, but bring him into your life. That will help you feel a little bit grounded. The second thing, I'm going to go out of order, is family. So many times we forget that we have a family. Yes, we're school leaders. Yes, we're there for our teachers. Yes, we're there for our students, but family comes first. Our kids come first. Our spouses come first. Our parents. What's the point of being a monster at home and being an angel in school? What's the point of that? What's the point of coming home and then screaming at your kids or not? We have so many things, and whoever says there's a work-life balance, there's no such thing. We know that. If you give to one thing, you lose out on the other thing. If you give more to the other thing, it's exactly like that. But try to make it a priority that there's someone in your family that you're paying closer attention to at certain times, or making an effort to be there for your family, because at the end of the day, we're doing it for our family. We don't want to look back 50 years later and say, oh, I wish I spent more time with my daughter, my son, my husband. I went on that trip. I didn't go on that trip. Like, your family really, really comes first. The next thing is self-care. And self-care, a lot of people talk about it all the time, taking care of yourself, I don't know, massage, manicures. I wanted to go a little bit out of the box and talk about mental health and being okay. Because if you're not okay, your school is not okay. If you're not okay, your school is not okay. You need to be okay. You need to take vitamins, not take Tylenol. You can't be popping Tylenols and having headaches and not feeling good. You need to be proactive about your health. Take the vitamins, and I'm saying it as a mashal, not actually to take vitamins, but yes, that's also very good. But take care of yourself. What is the thing that gives you energy? Some people, it's coming to Florida and being in the sunshine for a day or two. It takes the stress off their shoulders and they feel calm. Some people, it's, I don't know, buying a salad or you know, a food, an exercise, a walk. I did something very interesting. I always looked so blah and drained out. I don't know why. My makeup wasn't good. It wasn't matching, and I didn't know. So there's this girl in my community that does makeup artists. So I hired her for half an hour, and we went to Sephora together. It was all teenagers. I felt so out of place, but she helped me. I had like veins under my eyes, so she got me a crayon that blocks out the color, and then she picked like what cream would look like brighten up my face, and like, I don't know, my skincare. I just felt like I wasn't looking my best, and so I invested in that. That was my self-care, and my friends are like, "What? You spent money on that?" I'm like, listen, why not? And it's something so small, and I have to like justify it, but I don't have to justify it. I felt like I looked like I was sleeping, and I wasn't. It just wasn't, you know, I just wasn't looking my best. And she helped me with my eye creams and I don't know, the things that I should be doing that I don't do. I started taking probiotics. I'm like, what's probiotics? I never heard about it. Apparently in our gut, we have bacteria that helps with digestive system, but when we get older, certain foods that we eat are not healthy for us, and they make us feel sluggish and tired and not energy. And so if you take these probiotics, it rebuilds the bacteria in your gut, you have more energy, you're absorbing the right vitamins and minerals, and it helps. It's good. Yes, exactly, vitamins. And so another one is another principal told me actually that she took like her 5th or 6th kid to the orthodontist, and the orthodontist like, oh, terrible case of teeth. This kid needs braces, and she's like, I promise you, like he had no spaces in his teeth, but the orthodontist was a good saleswoman also, and she's like, yeah, he definitely needs braces or Invisalign, and she's like, doctor, could you give me a discount? It's like my 6th kid that I'm bringing, and she's like, no, that's the price for braces. And she's like, well, in this case, then everyone in the world needs braces because no one's born with perfect teeth. Like, if this kid needs braces, everyone needs braces. And she's like, well, actually not, but if you want, I'll check your teeth for you. And so the mom who works in my school, she did like a panoramic, and the orthodontist is like, I'll get you Invisalign. You're not such a big case. It's only gonna take 14 weeks, and it's like, you know, very reasonable. And she's like, for the first time, like, I thought, you know, for my kids, I'll spend whatever it is. They need braces, no problem. But for me, I never thought of it. And she did it. And she did it. She put on the Invisalign. It doesn't show. It's a retainer. And she's like, we don't ask questions when our kids need stuff. But when it comes to me, I don't know. But that was her self-care. She was self-conscious about it, and she decided this is what she's going to do for her self-care. And the last thing is your why. Always remember why you went into chinuch. Why you went into chinuch. Because no one in the right mind would become a principal or a leader of a school. We're not getting paid enough. We're not getting compensated enough. We're losing out on a lot of social interactions in our community because we're that person. Why? Why? Why did you go into this? And remember it every single day when things are tough and when you feel you need to be grounded. There was this little boy that was walking on the beach, and he saw that the ocean had washed up all of these starfish. And one by one, he walked down the shore and he threw the starfish back in. And then he walked a little bit more and he threw another starfish back in. And an old man comes to him and says, son, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm saving the starfish. They're all like, they're gonna die because the ocean washed them up. He's like, son, there's thousands of starfish. It's not going to make a difference that you're doing this. Like there's still, you're not going to walk for thousands of miles. And the boy picked up another starfish and he threw it in the water and he's like, for this one, it's going to make a difference. For this starfish, I saved the starfish life. And so if we remember our why as principals, when we walk into our buildings and we greet our students and we greet our teachers and then we greet our families and we remember why we're doing it, we feel tethered, we feel grounded. And then whatever comes our way, whatever chaos comes our way, we're not flying, we're not winded, we're not out of breath, we're grounded, and we are going to be the best version of ourselves. And so with that, I'm going to conclude our reset. And thank you so much for joining me. Thank you again for Amatz for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you.